Hi, welcome back to my channel. I got goop. This isn't a regular sequel video, alright? This is like a zequel. Or a squeakquel. If you missed my first video on Tinhorn Flats, you can watch it up there. It's very fun for me when I get to point to cards, because normally I don't do sequel videos, and now having done 2 in a row, I feel very cool. I ended my last Tinhorn Flats video by saying, the Los Angeles Superior Court authorized the city of Burbank to disconnect the electricity from Tinhorn Flats property. The court did not give the city the right to padlock the doors, but reserves the right to do so as a last resort. A little behind the scenes look here. I finished editing that video at like 4 in the morning, and I like my videos to be published at like a normal time. So I set the video to go up at 2 p.m. later that day, but I was gonna go to sleep and then wake up at 1:58 p.m. 2 minutes before my video was supposed to go up. And I had made a specific point to say, hey, they didn't lock the doors yet. This happens. 2 minutes before my video came out, something happened that made my video wrong. I don't think that'll happen this time though. Mostly because the physical location of Tinhorn Flats looks like this now.
Permanently closed. There it is. Bye-bye, Tinhorn Flats. Bye-bye.
The city padlocked the doors, and then they had to cut the locks off because there were too many people inside the padlocked restaurant. And then there was a fair bit of legal back and forth between the city and the restaurant, which really makes for excellent content for a comedy commentary video. Why didn't they think of me when they were trying to get away with breaking the rules? And then the owner's son got arrested. And then he got arrested again. And then he got arrested for a 3rd time. And through all of that, you want to know what actually did them in? Their landlord evicted them, I'm assuming because they didn't want to have to deal with all of the baggage that comes with that restaurant anymore. And the funniest thing is, the landlord for Tinhorn Flats is the owner of Tinhorn Flats' ex-wife. I guess they did think of me after all. It really feels like it's almost too perfect of an ending. Like if this whole saga was a movie, and you put, and in the end, what did them in was the owner's ex-wife evicted them. Someone would be like, come on. You're really gonna rope the ex-wife in here at the very end? And I go, yeah. And I'm stunt casting her as Rachel McAdams. The other thing that happened after I posted the video is it did fairly well, which was nice. You know, I put a lot of work into it and I was proud of it, and it took a while just watching all of the public comments at that city council meeting, so you know, I was feeling good. And when a video gets more views, it also tends to get more comments. And a lot of those comments came from people who disagreed with what I had to say. This is funny you think the flu has been stopped. I can't wait for the day the government shuts down your YouTube page. I've often wondered how regular people stood by and watched Germany descend into Nazism. I now know that your city council and your mayor are that government entity that started the German descent into Nazism, and you are supporting them. You know what? He is right. It was the Burbank City Council who was leading Nazi Germany in the 1940s, I guess. I hate to break it to you, but that isn't my city council and my mayor. My mayor is Bill de Blasio right now, but it's looking like it's going to be Eric Adams in a couple months. But also, if I'm a shill for Burbank's fascist government, and I am, why would they shut down my YouTube channel? Wouldn't they want an unpaid arm of the propaganda machine? Believe it or not, getting like 60 to 100 views on YouTube videos doesn't pay the bills. The bills de Blasio. If the government shuts down my YouTube channel, the government, not YouTube, for when I inevitably violate their community guidelines, the government, I will happily listen to whatever else John has to say. I think that's fair. Private property is private property. Period. I don't care how scared you are, you have no right to make demands of others. But of course, if a 99.96% survival rate is not safe enough for you, I have a beach in Normandy that needs storming. Now, Good Citizen makes a good point here, but I actually disagree. I think that you can make some demands of others. Of course, it has to be within reason, but I think that that's essentially what laws are. I think most people like to feel safe and secure in their environment, and so writing down a list that's like, all right, no killing, no drunk driving, no cheating people out of money, no eating people, army. Put the fork down. I feel like those in the media, and I guess us as a country, have really let Army Hammer's likely cannibalism sort of just like disappear into the background, when that should be something we talk about every day, forever. Getting back to my original point, having a list like that sets guidelines for what you are demanding of others. And it's a demand because if people don't meet that demand, there are consequences. This is not me saying that every law is just or even good. You know, like loitering is still a crime. And that's not a crime. That's just people hanging out. But you're not allowed to hang out? I thought this was a free country. I thought I could hang out where I want to hang out. But in an ideal world, laws are collectively what we expect out of one another. And there are a ton of laws that aren't actively or physically harmful, but we expect out of common courtesy, like public urination, public intoxication, public nudity. You get the gist. I think it's pretty safe to say that in order to promote the general welfare and to secure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity, you can make demands of other people, because that takes a community. You need a general amount of people to do that. Don't let all this distract you from the fact that there's a caterer across the street called Boys in the Kitchen. Is that actually true? Okay, so no more getting political with Tinhorn Flats. I now need to entirely reshape Burbank's restaurant industry. So when you have a restaurant with a clear political perspective, I don't think that that's a stretch to say. What do you do when your restaurant gets evicted? Now they're all about marching and protesting, which is well within their First Amendment rights. I do think, however, they are a little lost in the sauce. One of their protests went to the mayor of Burbank's house, and I'll give you a couple of guesses as to why they went. Was it A, to reinstate the conditional use permit that had been revoked from Tinhorn Flat? Was it B, in protest of the unjust arrests that had been made against the owner of Tinhorn Flats' son? Or was it C, to get the city to sign the permits needed so that Tinhorn Flats could open up at a new location? If you guessed B, you're wrong. If you guessed A or C, you're wrong as well. The correct answer was to stop the Green New Deal. Their plan to stop a resolution, not even a piece of legislation, a resolution that is talked about on the national level and isn't even widely loved by Democrats, is to go to the mayor of Burbank's house. That'd be like if I wanted to stop the inevitable Jurassic World Fast and the Furious crossover that Universal is going to do, and to try and stop it, I went to Eleanor Roosevelt's grave. I don't think she's gonna do much about it. They also have the classic rallies to save America, because America always needs saving, for whatever reason. A couple people have started parody Tinhorn Flats pages, but the owner really did not like when that happened. Tinhorn Flats Burbank is the one and only official site of Tinhorn Flats. Report and do not engage with fake sites that are slandering our name. Mark Garagos, who was their lawyer in the whole situation, will deal with the scum. I think the parody accounts will be okay. This whole situation is so ridiculous. They could have done literally everything the same other than have people at their restaurant and they'd be fine. Nothing would have happened to them. Mostly, I feel bad for the people who live near the restaurant, who have had to deal with them just being a loud thing that you couldn't really ignore, with all the protests and when the police have had to come to like bust the locks off. It just seems like a lot to deal with over a restaurant. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you did and you wouldn't mind leaving a like or subscribing or commenting, you still are a shill for the government, Harry. I'd really appreciate that. No new video next week because I'll be in Tokyo playing for the US men's handball team. But I should be back in 2 weeks with another absolute banger of a video. Until then, bye-bye.